Welcome to John's Corner, where our star reporter Jonathan always lands on his feet. He's a hard-hitting reporter who isn't afraid to throw a punch or to take one. He's always investigating the issues that others shy away from, uncovering even the biggest of scandals, while learning every secret he can. Here on John's Corner.
What's up, Blue River Nation? It's your boy Jonathan, and welcome back to John's Corner. So I just saw the new Suicide Squad, and I loved it. It was the most perfect James Gunn movie you could have. Blood, gore, humor, irrelevancy. It's just perfect. It's exactly what comic book movies should be. I don't hate the first one like a lot of people do, but this is definitely what you would think of when you think of Suicide Squad. It has a very Doom Patrol TV show vibe, and I loved it. I just sat there in the movie theater and ate the whole thing up. So if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go and check it out, because it was fucking amazing, man. Like, it's James Gunn. Is anyone sitting here thinking James Gunn wasn't gonna pull this off? But man, DC, it's their time to shine. I mean, we got Stargirl coming back, which I don't know if you guys have seen season 1, but I loved it. I thought season 1 was amazing, and so now we're getting season 2, and I hope it keeps the same kind of budget level, because it was on DC Universe, and you know DC Universe poured money into their shows, and now switching over to CW, and I love the Arrowverse, but there's definitely a difference in budget between what the DC Universe was doing and what the CW is doing. So hopefully Stargirl still looks the same. But man, I'm really excited for that to come back. And then we get Titans to come back. I think a few days later. Like, it's a good time to be a nerd in the DC Universe, because they're coming out with the content now, man. That being said, Marvel's not slacking. This Wednesday we get What If, which I've been excited about since they announced it. That comic book in the day was just so much fun. It was like going down the path not traveled and seeing where it would lead. And since none of the characters had to survive or had to ever be really used again, because it was a different storyline that was with a definite ending in it, anything could happen. You could kill off main characters in a way that was meaningful. Not like, regular comic book universe where you kill off a main character and they're back a month later. They would really die, because it was never going to happen again. It was just a what if. It was the ending of the story if you had gone down this path. And to me, that was always fun. It was always fun to see what the road not traveled was. I mean, I don't think the show's going to go straight that route, because because the MCU hasn't really been around long enough to come up with that many different, like, oh, what if this had happened instead moments. But there's still some. Be interesting. But I'm excited for it, man. Disney Plus has been killing it with their shows, so I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's a cartoon, so it's gonna be different, but how do you do this live action? The budgets on that would be insane, and getting all those actors. So I'm all in. I'm excited, man. You gotta love the fact that when I was a kid, we had far and few between things. I mean, my mom used to let me skip school on a Friday to watch the Blade movies, because they were the only real comic book movies coming out. The Blade movies, that's it. That trilogy, for the longest time, was all we had. Or stuff that came out before I was born or when I was a little kid. Like, there was no real new content. But now there's all content all the time. You can't escape all the comic book content, and I'm kind of loving it, man. Like, it's a fun time. You keep hearing people, even James Gunn, even like, oh, it's gonna get old, it's gonna fall away, and it's like, yeah, well, is it though? I mean, you watch a James Gunn comic book movie, it's not the same as a Zack Snyder comic book movie or Joss Whedon comic book movie. Like, all these different people are doing different things with it. They're bringing their sensibilities to it, their version to it. And you can, I mean, Winter Soldier is a spy movie, but it's a comic book movie. You see what I'm saying? Like you could do different things with it. You could play different areas in the universe. I don't see why it has to end. What I'm looking for is more. Let's do more horror comic book movies because those would be fun. I know Marvel tried it with the Man Thing movie that we never speak of, and we should probably never speak of. Yeah, let's just move on from that. But it's definitely a genre that I don't see dying out. Like everyone keeps doomsaying, like it's gonna end, it's never gonna survive. It's why? Based on what? What has ever led you to believe that people get tired of something that they love? Because they won't. They'll love it. Alright, maybe I'm wrong. So, I discovered quite by accident, but a couple years ago, CNN did this show called The Movies. And it was like 6 episodes, 7 episodes, and every episode was a different decade of movies. And they just deep dived into movies. And then they did one about late night television, which was awesome. And now, I haven't seen the last episode yet, but they did one about the history of sitcoms. Now, I don't know about you, but I love sitcoms. Sitcoms are something that have always... They're just fun, you know? Like, they're a break from reality, and you can laugh and see how absurd life is, because life is absurd. You look at the things happening in life, and it is just absurd. And so you watch a sitcom, and you can just kind of laugh and be like, yeah, no, life is crazy. Life makes no sense. No sane person would think this is how the world is supposed to work, and yet it is exactly how the world is supposed to work. It shoots a mirror back on our lives in the most absurd fashion, and I just love it. So this was talking about the history of sitcoms, like how sitcoms have evolved over the years and stuff like that. So if you get a chance, you should definitely check it out. It's really well made. Well worth checking out, especially if you love sitcoms like I do, because it's fun, man. I mean, you can't really act like the sitcoms we grew up on didn't have a defining characteristic on who we are. That sensibility, the sense of humor in them. I mean, me personally, I grew up on Gilligan's Island and Cheers and Three's Company. Like those are my 3 main and Roseanne. Those are like the 4 main sitcoms I watched religiously as a kid. And just watching it and seeing the behind the scenes of it and how it grew to become what it is, it's fun, man. It's cool seeing how the sausage gets made, you know? So if you have a chance to check it out, you should definitely check it out. Speaking of sitcoms, I just started watching Bosom Buddies, the Tom Hanks show where in order to... Okay, so him and his friend, I forget the other guy's name. He was the dad on the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids TV show. But their apartment gets destroyed, and so they're looking for a place to stay, and there was a hotel that only allowed women to stay there. So they dress up as women and move into the hotel. I've always heard about the show. I'm a huge Tom Hanks fan, so I've always heard about the show. I've always wanted to watch it. So I finally found it, and I started watching it. And it's legitimately funny. It's really funny. And as soon as I started watching it, the newest episode of Tell 'Em Steve Daves makes a Bosom Buddy reference, which in all of my life of listening to everything entertainment I can find, I've never really heard anyone talk about this show. And as soon as I start watching it, Tell 'Em Steve Daves starts talking about it, which I thought was just amazing coincidence, because you know me, you know I love that podcast. But yeah, I don't know. I want to talk about stuff that I was watching now. Put in the comments below what you guys are watching. I'll be interested to know. But anyways, till next time, I'm Jonathan. Give us legends.